entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for elevating your business. Welcome to Getting the Edge with Kelly Wilson. And here's your host, Kelly Wilson.
Welcome to Getting the Edge. I'm your host, Kelly Wilson. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for being with us each and every week as we bring on business professionals and leaders in the community to share their stories and share their trials and tribulations. And I'm definitely a firm believer that we can learn a lot from each other. So again, thank you for being with us today. Edge is brought to you by Edge Media Hub, Tampa Bay's local multi-platform media company, specifically designed to assist the small business community with building connections and gaining influence and visibility in the community. So for more information on Getting the Edge, Edge Business Magazine, or any of the Edge Media Hub products, make sure you check us out online at edgemediahub.com. I would love to thank our sponsors for the opportunity to be with you each and every week. Thank you to All Trust Insurance, your trusted employee benefits partner. Thank you so much. Thank you to Pilot Bank, and thank you to Tampa Bay Multimedia and WeBeam TV. If you are looking for a new opportunity to have a platform, share your voice, and a way to communicate with your customers and clients, definitely consider having your own version of Getting the Edge, and reach out to John Gaston and their amazing team at Tampa Bay Multimedia and WeBeamTV.com. So they'll take great care of you. We've worked with John and his team for years, so very happy to be a part of their team. So, thank you so much again for being with us each week. We're all in such uncertain times right now, and we're a couple months into the pandemic, COVID-19, where many of our worlds have changed, even if just slightly. Most quite more than that. But it's been great to bring on community members to really share what their experiences have been and how they're moving forward and what rebound and recovery looks like. If you have any questions for us in the meantime, please email us at info@edgemediahub.com. We'd be happy to answer any of your questions, or if you have a great story to share, reach out as well. We've got a great two-part show for you today. We've got some business owners in the community and Edge community partners that are going to be a part of the show. Ken Pomella, CEO of RevStar Consulting, is going to be with us to talk about software development and everything that has to do with that. So Ken, welcome. Thank you for being a part of the show.
Hey, Kelly, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, as you're outside lounging, maybe. The virtual aspect of the shows now, we get to Zoom you in from anywhere.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the only salvation when you have quarantine. You can hang out by the pool at least. So.
You're very fortunate to be able to do so because, at least that gives some sense of, I don't know, sanity, maybe. Tell us a little bit about RevStar Consulting, Ken.
Absolutely. So we're a custom software development shop headquartered right here in Tampa, Florida. I started the company in 2009 and, help lots of local companies as well as businesses in all around the country take their dreams and ideas and turn them into custom software.
I love that, providing pure cloud solutions to business problems. I think a lot of times people there's different, we all think differently. I'm more of the creative brain, but I don't necessarily think of the systems and processes and solutions necessarily. I mean, I do. But anyway, I'm sure you provide solutions to problems that sometimes we didn't even realize were a way to solve a problem. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, so one thing that we do when we help our customers, we walk through and really analyze what's going on with their business. So there's so many things you don't know when you build software. Some people kind of have an idea they need something custom, or there's some inefficiency in their business. But most of the time they don't really understand all the kind of the pieces or the things that could be automated and streamlined and built for them. So that's something that I feel we're uniquely qualified to do. We do a 3-step analysis process with every customer, and we find a lot and cover a lot of things that they didn't initially think about when we first engaged with them. So there's a tremendous value there for our customers.
And is that through kind of the build and a transform and then innovate? Are those kind of the three? I was doing some research to your website. You had the build phase, and then is it the transform and then the innovation side of things?
Yeah, so the analysis is always up front. So we want to understand not only just the problem that's being presented to us, but the business in general and how that problem fits in the grand scheme of things. And so that's that initial analysis phase that we go through. And then from there, we use that information to build. And what that does is, again, it creates a great transparency on our end and with the customer. And we know exactly what they need, and they know exactly what's going to be built for them. And it really makes for a great experience on both sides.
So how has RevStar been handling things over the last couple of months? I know as a software development, have you been impacted? How has the impact been on your business?
It's been interesting. Definitely in this market, the first thing I did was say, well, what kind of value can we provide now? So, the COVID brings up different opportunities. It could be we're helping someone save some money by outsourcing development versus building in-house. People have new ideas. We had existing customers. We had a customer that he's a prescription delivery service, and once the whole COVID thing happened, called me immediately and said, hey, we need to make this huge pivot. We need to integrate quickly. And so you need to be able to respond to those things, as the market shifts. And so fortunately, we're a very virtual team. So The impact on our operations was minimal, but we definitely had some shifts in strategy in both in how we're handling new customers and projects that we were already in the middle of building.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about different ways that we've all had to pivot and change and adapt. And, we had Moez Lamayam on this show last week for the dean of the USF Movement College of Business. He was so funny. He said, there's definitely going to be a new normal. There's going to be your winners and your losers. He said those that adapt and pivot and just really try to adjust will come out, winning. But he said those that try to do business as normal won't survive. We all have to adjust the ways of that we're doing business to try to accommodate what's most needed or how we can best serve our communities.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always an opportunity to add value in any market.
Right.
Being able to shift, and change is always constant. Unfortunately, markets like hospitality, I really my heart goes out to anyone in that industry. That's a little bit tougher. If you're a hotel, it's not as easy to shift. So, luckily within software and within certain industries, it's a little bit easier to pivot. But I think it's really just really looking at the landscape and what people's needs are and what value you can add now.
Yeah, one of the questions and that I've asked a lot with different people and leaders and business professionals, what can leaders do to turn adversity into advantage? What do you think about that?
I think you have to really look at, again, what can you uniquely do in this market, right? So I think the initial shock is where the adversity comes in.
Right.
But most businesses, again, outside of certain industries, most businesses can easily offer services that they currently have virtually. I think this is going to be an eye-opener for a lot of companies that, didn't let employees work from home and, had a harder time transitioning into the virtual world. But once everything's settled down, once you got past kind of the initial shock of, oh my God, everyone can't come to an office anymore, you'll notice most people rebounded pretty quickly and realized, hey, I still have a lot of value to add in this new landscape. So I think it's just, as a business owner, you should always be proactive. Markets shift, maybe not as abruptly as this did, but markets shift all the time, and you have to constantly be evaluating your business and what value can you add in the market landscape of today versus yesterday.
Yeah, that's really something that as business owners, entrepreneurs, I mean, that's something that we're kind of taught, and I mean, to anyway, is to constantly be analyzing where our businesses are and what we can be doing to improve them. And pivoting is just a natural part of business. I mean, this is quite extreme from a pandemic side of things, right? But as a leader, we're constantly, I mean, looking for ways to ensure our survival. But I think even more now than ever, it's more important for leaders to show decisiveness and make those decisions. And I think, as we've talked about it on the show quite a bit too, crisis leadership is a lot about, not really looking at exactly the present, but trying to evaluate, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, and where we go from there as a new normal finally kind of evolves, or we evolve into a new normal. I can't get my words out today.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's what I was saying, kind of the initial shock of what happened was more like, how do I keep my employees working? How do I function? And now it's really, let's look at, what does fourth quarter look like? Everybody's business is a little bit different. So from a software perspective, our busy sales quarters are fourth quarter and first quarter. So, right now I'm looking at, I would be kind of doing my sales strategy anyway at this time of year, but I still don't know the long-term impact, right? So that's kind of what I'm preparing myself for and wrapping my head around now, where again, like a hotel, a cruise ship, they were impacted immediately. So depending on your business, it changes your strategy a little bit. This year everyone was projecting these, the roaring 20s, there was all this hype going on, and something like this is an abrupt pivot. So it's one of those things. Initially, it's like, just keep everybody calm, do the best you can to operate, and then really, like you said, look at what's, the next 6 months, a year, 18 months, what's the long-term impact.
Well, I think so many of us at the beginning of the year, as we went into January, into February, and even, some of us for some of March, it was probably, for us, one of our best fourth and first quarters ever. So it's interesting. And I've talked to so many other businesses that were in that same kind of place, and then this comes along and you're like, what? It just really kind of takes you by surprise. But again, as leaders and entrepreneurs, we're resilient. So that resiliency gene kicks in, and, we figure out ways to make it through. But definitely, trying to analyze and project long-term impacts is something many of us are trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And, sales strategy for some businesses is heavy networking and being out in the community, right? And so when that happens, you pivot to, being on virtual conferences, phone calls, and just like something small like that, right? You don't realize the kind of the impact on your sales team and your whole sales strategy. And so you really have to rethink quite a bit. But, again, the only thing consistent is change, right? So this was a big change very quickly. But it's no different. You have to roll up your sleeves and, like I said, keep your team calm and just come up with the new strategy. And getting buy-in from your team is the most important. So I think involving them and just keeping everybody in good spirits as much as possible is kind of, like I said, the immediate thing you need to do.
I love that, Ken. The only thing consistent is change. I like that. I'm gonna use that quite a bit now. And I think that's one of the things we talked about too, is just how leadership has changed over the years, where it's not just about showing power. It's really about leading with a heart and leading by example. So I think being somewhat empathic towards your team is expected at this point. And I think that's what helps stand some leaders out from others. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you can't be like, everything is happening to me, right? Because you have other people that you're responsible for. And it's, you don't know if somebody that works for you, their spouse lost their job, and they're worried about, again, let's say you're in sales and now you're worried about making your commission. So yeah, it's that has to always be number one, caring about your team and just making sure that, again, keep them calm. And unfortunately, some people did have to make, cutbacks, and that's, you hate to see that happen. But luckily for us, we didn't have to make any cutbacks, and that's been great. Definitely being empathetic towards that, is, I'd say that's the number one job as a leader. Just, like I said, caring about the people that you have, and understanding that, this is impacting their lives, their families, and everything else.
Yeah. Well, and so many of it had to make adjustments with, working from home, and then those that are parents, then having their kids at home, and we all have to sympathize with everything that we're all adjusting to, and as business owners and leaders, trying to be understanding with what others are going through, I think is crucial right now. You've actually expanded your team, have you not, over the last couple of months? And I think you've hired a couple other team members.
Yeah. We had, again, the bulk of our business comes in fourth quarter, first quarter, right? So we grew very quickly, Q4 last year, Q1 this year. So that's, we're in a good spot. Luckily I feel very blessed to be able to say that. And, I'm kind of, like I said, wrapping my head around where we'll be Q4 this year, Q1 next year, how other, companies' budgets will be. And, I definitely expect some impact to our growth and the growth I projected originally for, 2020, 2021. But right now we're still doing well. And, just like I said, finding new ways we can help people out. Just trying to be as proactive and respond to our customers' needs as much as possible, as quickly as possible.
Well, hopefully, I know we kind of joke, you and I had coffee maybe mid-February, right before kind of everything shut down. And I think at that time there were a few cases, but we really didn't know what was going on. And I think that's probably my last time I had coffee, or actually had a meeting and had, and met. So hopefully we can get out and have coffee again someday in the near future. But it'll be interesting. I feel more comfortable when I can sit outside. If I'm outside, then I think I'm adapting. But I'm so thankful to see some of the businesses starting to reopen, and hope to be interesting to see as we play out a little bit and some more time passes. But Ken, I want to spend some time too talking about some of the things that RevStar Consulting does. And being that my mind doesn't focus so much, or I don't have the same brain type. The whole IT and tech is not my forte. So while I have you, I want to take some time. Let's talk about the different ways that you kind of implement and work towards build and transform and innovate. I know through application development, system integration, and analytics and business integration. Let's talk a little bit about that. What are some of your most popular services for the business community?
So we build everything on the cloud. So when it says pure cloud, we build cloud native. That's going to offer the ability to innovate quickly because of taking advantage of all the services the cloud offers. Being able to get something up, from idea to a product you can actually see as quickly as possible is very important. As far as what that means to a business. Not having any headaches, being able to grow without, worrying about your application not working when you need it to, keeping costs down, not having to make large investments into infrastructure. And then from an integration standpoint, when you're building with the cloud, there's so many, integrations that exist already. It's very easy to integrate platforms. And the nice thing is it's available everywhere, right? Given this pandemic, there were systems that a lot of people were using inside of their office, didn't have access to, had to get on a VPN. The VPN was overloaded now because everyone's on the VPN.
What's VPN?
Virtual private network. It's a way of putting yourself from your network at home onto the company's network. Sorry.
Okay.
But, stop me if I use it.
I will. Well, and even let me go back just a second. When you talk about what are the benefits of being cloud-based, and maybe this is common sense, and I should know this, but the fact that anybody can connect remotely from no matter where you are.
That's one big benefit, right? It's centralized, and so you can use it from home. You can use it from the office, and I guess you don't have to be on this
VPN
office. which a lot of people found out that they couldn't handle the traffic once everyone in the office was trying to connect in, right? So it's always available. The scalability, right? If everyone starts using the system all of a sudden, some companies have legacy systems in-house, some partially on the cloud. And so, being able to access everything remotely and in one centralized location and not having these kind of systems fragmented everywhere is very important. Some people probably notice it's not as easy when they're not taking data from system A and emailing it to somebody in the next cubicle over. So really centralizing all the software and the logic into one place and having it be accessible and scalable, from everywhere is going to be now not just something that you should do, it's going to be imperative. So that'll be a shift in the market where the cloud isn't, kind of a cool, trendy technology, but a thing that needs to be a part of everyday business.
So then it's not part of a server type thing. It's more on the cloud. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's built on. So imagine a giant, room filled with tons of servers that you're buying shared time on. So somebody else is maintaining all the physical hardware, physical infrastructure. There's, dozens. So one cloud provider would have dozens of these servers just within a region, and you're able to make it redundant. So let's say if something happens to building A, you're up in the blink of an eye in building B. And so from a business continuity perspective, that's very important. Like I said, as people are starting to now rely on these cloud-based applications, them being able to be up all of the time and not have any disruptions to business is important.
And I guess that cybersecurity plays a lot into that as well, right? Because if it's cloud-based, do you have more of a risk of being invaded some way?
Yeah, so that's a good question. That's kind of a misnomer, right? A lot of people think, oh, the cloud, I'm putting my stuff somewhere else in Amazon's data center or Microsoft's data center, and they're going to steal my information. And so there's a lot of kind of, like I said, misnomers about the cloud, but really it's more secure. You still have to secure your virtual environment, but somebody else is responsible for, the physical security, not letting the wrong people through the actual door of the data center, the underlying hardware, the network connectivity, all of the stuff that you would, if you had your own on-premise server or you were dealing with your own data center directly, you would be responsible for. So it shifts a lot of the things that you have to deal with onto the cloud service provider. And the truth is, AWS, Microsoft, Google, these cloud platforms have people that, are just way smarter at this stuff than me. That's what they do all day. They're great at it. So it's no different than you pay somebody to do your taxes, right? Why? Because they're better than you at taxes. I'm not an accountant. It's the same premise. So you're letting somebody that's an expert at the physical infrastructure deal with all of that. And then, from there, the next step is, there's a lot of pre-built services now on the cloud. I mean, if you go on AWS, they have some like 160 out-of-the-box services.
AWS?
Amazon Web Services.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's all these services you can leverage to, quickly build something and be up and running. So it's evolved over time. And, a lot of early adopters are already taking advantage of this. But like I said, now every business really needs to look at, the cloud as a must-have versus, just something that's a trendy new thing.
So, wow. And again, there's more information on your website that kind of talks, about some of the other different services and that you provide. And I'm sure we have your information on the screen as well, where I would definitely recommend anyone reaching out for any custom, questions that they might have as well. What led you to IT and into this, Ken? What was this your background always?
Yeah, so I was kind of born into this. My mother and father were, in IT. I think I built my first computer with my dad. I was like 5 years old.
That's crazy.
So it was just something I grew up around, and I went to school for computer science, got into coding, and I worked my way up through various roles in corporate America and different leadership roles before leaving to start my own company. And it's fun. I love the technology part of it. Being an entrepreneur has been really great. You're solving problems just at a larger scale, but it's all the basic concepts. How can we use software and technology to make our lives easier? At the end of the day, everybody wants to turn their computer on, load their software, and not have to, be kind of aggravated because it doesn't work.
Right. Well, I think that's, one of the benefits where, you can kind of look at things from a tech perspective and figure out solutions. Where someone that, like myself, that's not very tech oriented, we have great people surrounding us. We surround ourselves with great people, but we don't look at something and just automatically think of a tech solution. So, kind of like what you said as far as why you go to an accountant for your taxes. I mean, I guess, for different, we all have our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, there's different part. A lot of people don't understand about tech. You're not just hiring a developer. There's the solution part of it, right? That's why I said that 3-step phase that we do is so important, because we're actually discovering what you need versus having a small part of the picture and saying, well, here's a developer to go code it. So it really is solving those problems. That's more important than just building something. If you build something and it misses the mark, then there was no point in building it in the first place. So that consultative true. Piece and the problem solving is the part that I really enjoy, and what led me to start the business in the first place.
So, like building something to solve the problem, that's really what it's all about, and trying, I guess, with your customers or clients, identifying exactly what those problems are.
Right, exactly. There's a lot of people that say, I want software, and you have to ask them really what's the goal of it, right? So I want software. I need a developer. Can you develop me something? But we like to take a step back and really understand, like I said, why, how does it fit into the business? What does it really solve? And help them think of everything else. Because the truth is, if the software doesn't integrate into the business, like I said, if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do at the end of the day, you're not going to be happy with it. You're going to build something and say, well, this isn't really solving my problem. It's just creating a new problem. So really understanding the full scope of the project, before just starting a code is important.
Right, and the desired outcomes of what because I can imagine the build time, obviously your projects, I would imagine, take quite a bit of time to build. So you want to be able to really thoroughly understand exactly what their end game or their goal is for that. And then obviously I would think trying to build it to a point where you can also add to it and evolve it as your clients may need in time. So I know we're just about out of time. Any last thoughts from you, Ken, that you'd like to share with us?
No, I mean, I appreciate you having me on the show, and it's funny, you were also one of the last people I had a real conversation with in person. So I'm also glad things are opening up and seeing so many people trying to get back to normal. And so it's very encouraging, and I'm looking forward to the next time we can sit down.
Yeah, Ken, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Thank you. And we have all your information up. Thank you so much. All right.
Thanks,
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more with Getting the Edge. Welcome back to Getting the Edge. Thank you so much again for being with us today. Thank you to Ken Pomella, a CEO for RevStar Consulting. Ken, thank you so much for being on the show with us today. In the second segment of Getting the Edge tonight, we're going to talk to another local business owner and Edge community partner, Dellinda Rabinowitz, owner Urban E-Recycling. Welcome to the show, Dellinda.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on. How are you
Pleasure.
doing? How are you doing through everything?
I am surviving pretty good. The first couple of months, or about 6 or 7 weeks, was really rough, but it's ramping up now.
Yeah, it's definitely been an adjustment for all of us in some way or
Yes, it
another.
has.
Yeah, it's been interesting. We've done so many conversations with the local business community leaders in our area, and it's just it was like life was one way one day, and then it completely changed, and it's just
That's the truth.
yeah, it's just really
We,
adapting.
we are an essential business, so we stayed open, and we employed all of our employees the whole time, but it was rough.
Well, Del, tell us a little bit about Urban E-Recycling. How old? How many years now have you been in business?
We started in 2012, and it's almost 8 years now.
Oh, wow. And how many employees do you have?
We have 22 at the time.
Wow. And I mean, how many did you have when you started 8 years ago?
Me and my husband.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations. Now, are you for profit or nonprofit?
For profit.
You are for profit. So where?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Urban E-Recycling and some of the different. Obviously, it's responsible electronic recycling, which you do not charge for. But tell us a little bit about how did you get started with this business?
My husband and partner used to be in the scrap metal business years ago, and when the economy tanked, he was out of a job for a while. He tried to mow lawns and do other things, and finally he says, I know I can make money scrapping metal. And in my mind, this was before I even met him, the scrap business. In my mind, I'm thinking, I am not going to be with a man that drives around in an old pickup truck and goes through people's garbage and gets metal. And I says, well, let's do this. Let's do some research and see what is needed right now. And because I'm the marketing, I've always been marketing, and we
entrepreneurial minded, obviously.
Pardon me?
I said, and entrepreneurial minded, obviously.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was a serial entrepreneur, but I guess I am.
Yeah.
So. But we did our research, and we found out about 73% was going to the landfill of electronics, end-of-use electronics. And we knew there was gold and silver and copper and other metals, precious metals and semi-precious metals in computers and electronics. So we decided that's where we want to be.
So interesting. And so you actually go and pick up, so there's no drop off. Like if you go and you pick up, and what are the different types of devices that you pick up?
We pick up, well, let me correct that. We do have a drop off at our location. And we have 2 locations, Tampa, and we bought a similar business in Sarasota. And so there's 2 locations that people can drop off. But we do pick up mostly from businesses, and we just go pick up. We do computers, cords, battery backups, fax machines, copiers, almost anything that you plug up in an office.
Wow. And then, yeah, you're right. You wouldn't, so many offices, especially with a lot of employees, probably have a lot of equipment and then when it's no longer working, you can only keep it all in a storage room for so long. So it's like, what do you do with it? And some of that, I guess where the delivery comes in, some of it might be too big, or it wouldn't easily be easy to go drop off somewhere. So that's where the delivery or where the pickup probably comes in really handy.
Yes, we do pick up a lot of businesses. Very seldom does business drop off.
Right.
The individuals a lot of times do. But we pick up 200 and 300 computers at a time sometimes. So it's not practical for people to deliver.
Right.
So we pick up. We have 8 trucks at this time, and usually 4 to 6 of them are on the road all the time, sometimes all 8. And we just go around and pick up, and we have on our website a form that they can fill out and get the pickup request, and it goes right on our calendar. We developed a software that works perfect for us. And it goes right on our calendar, and we organize the route every day.
Well, it actually sounds like a great business model because there's not a fee for your service, and you're asking the businesses or individuals for their items they're not even using. Actually,
that's right.
It seems brilliant, actually, because you're not charging, and you went from 2 employees, yourself and your husband, to now 22. So you're obviously making a pretty good return on investment with that. Who would say no? And you're even providing a certification of destruction.
Well, yes, data destruction. Well, that's the hard drive destruction. We have 5 machines that destroy hard drives, and we do that, and everybody else in our industry charges for that, but we don't. We do it for free, and that's where the certificates come in, and to say that we're HIPAA compliant. We do a lot of hospitals and medical facilities, so we're HIPAA compliant, and we have other certifications to make sure people feel comfortable about their data destruction. And more than that, there you go. More than that, they have a video like that shows that this is their hard drive.
Oh, wow.
So.
That's so interesting. And then, so what do you do with all of the components? Do you then dissect them all and sell the smaller parts, or what is that?
I like your word dissect. I like that. We call it dismantle.
Okay.
We dismantle all the computers, and actually we're after the boards. The boards is the most valuable thing because that's where the gold is, the silver is, and some copper, and then all the wires usually have the wire in them. And there is a second home for all of them. We recycle every bit of it.
Wow, it's I guess we don't even think about that being a part of the pieces. Being valuable pieces, or having the gold or copper or silver or any of that being a part of it. Or you would think it'd be so small it wouldn't be valuable, but when you're getting in large quantities, it could be that's substantial. Are you there? You're there with us.
Yeah, I am. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, but no, you wouldn't think that'd be... Go ahead.
Well, it's a volume business. We have 27,000 square feet of room, and it's full.
27,000?
Is that right? 27,000 square feet?
Yeah, so
it's big.
It's big. Del, you're so funny. Where did the name come from?
Urban e-recycling. Well, E is for electronics.
Right.
And we just came up with
urban
names over and over because it's urban, it's, city-ish, right. And that's what it is. The E is electronics.
Right. Wow. Well, I am amazed. I didn't know the different parts of what what was included kind of in the process. But in only 8 years, you've made a big, like I said, going from 2 to 22 employees and having the square footage and the volume that you do. You've done a great job. What did you do? Where are you from originally, Del?
What kind of careers have I had?
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Florida, New Smyrna Beach.
Oh, wow. So what did you, what kind of business were you in before? Did you always know you wanted to own your own company?
Oh, yes. My first company was a circus, and I was 8 years old. So I've always done something. I've owned liquor stores. I've owned a newspaper. I've owned an antique store. Let's see, what else?
A circus at 8.
Well, I know, and I charged a nickel for the neighborhood kids, and my mom made me give the nickels back. But
oh, wow. I actually, when I was younger, submitted an application for the Barnum and Bailey Circus. Like I was, I don't know what age I was, maybe 9 or 10, but determined that I would be a part of the circus. I think I love the food too, and I thought that would be that would be my life someday. But I still have. I remember for some reason I got 2 applications, and I actually kept one of them. I don't know whatever happened with it. I didn't pursue it. Obviously, I changed my mind. I probably got boy crazy at that point, and who knows. That's
funny. That's really funny. That reminds me, I haven't thought of it for years, but I sent in a slogan for Jergens lotion once, and then they sent me some free product.
Oh, really?
So I've always been a marketer since an early age.
Yeah. Well, I think that's brilliant that your husband had an idea for scrap metal and you thought, okay, here's another business opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you have to think that way. It's so over the years, do you still have any of the other businesses as well, or are you concentrated only?
No. A lot of them failed. There's a lot of them that didn't do well.
Right.
And the liquor store I sold for 2.5 times as much as I paid for it after 18 months. So that's my other successful story.
That gets a high five.
But other than that, pardon me?
I said that gets a high five.
Yeah. So, but there was a lot of failures in my careers.
Yeah. Well, I think like with all of us, we learn more from what doesn't work than from what does.
That's right.
In my opinion.
Right.
Yeah. So what does the future hold for Del?
I love what I'm doing now, and I would be very happy doing this until I'm, 80 years old. Probably, I don't know. It just is so much fun because I don't have a boss,
right. Yeah.
And I've never been able to market in this way because this is mostly what I do, and just running the business and marketing, and my husband does the operations. So it's a very pleasant thing for me.
Yeah. Do you have plans of expanding any more beyond the Sarasota office?
I always want to take over the world, but I would be happy to take over Florida.
Yeah.
My husband, my partner, I call him my partner because he was my partner before he was my husband, but my partner and husband does not have the same vision. Of course, I'm the visionary.
Right.
And he's just happy the way he is, and I want to take over Florida.
That's the entrepreneurial in you. That visionary for sure. So what are some tips or some different experiences or maybe lessons that you've learned from going from a small company from 2 employees to then 22 over the last 8 years? How is that that transition to small to bigger, keeping the same values. What are some tips you can share with us as you grow?
Well, one thing you want to do, or one thing I felt like we had to do to succeed, and it has worked, is get help. Get a good CPA, get a good attorney, just get some help, and don't try to do it all yourself.
Right.
That's one thing. We have great employees, some has come and gone, but mostly our employees that we have, all of them's been there over a year. We have some that's been with us almost 6 years, several that's been with us 4 years. So I'm not sure why we do care about our employees. We make sure that the families come first. All the families are invited to any holiday party that we have, or any holiday anything. And we always let people go to their children's baseball games. We never ever interfere with something like that, because I think that's important. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they just like us.
Well, I think I like on your website, you have many or all of them listed on the website. In fact, I didn't even see you, but I saw all the team, like all the employees that were there. Maybe I missed you somewhere, but I think that shows how much you respect them as being a part of the company, and they're all right there. If not all, you had quite a few, because I was like, wow, I had no idea you had so many employees.
That's right, and I do respect them a lot. They work in hot weather.
Yeah.
The Florida summers are brutal. And there's no air conditioning in that big old warehouse. We have the doors open and fans going, but It gets hot. And there they are.
There they are. Yeah, I was impressed that you had so many people listed on the website, because you just don't see, like I said, I didn't see you. So I thought, okay, you kind of listed who you obviously show value to. I just think that's great. So I commend you for that.
Well, I do have another page with my husband and I.
Okay.
And but it is a separate page. But yeah I do want to honor my employees, because we wouldn't be Urban E-Recycling without them.
Yeah, well, we talk a lot on this show about being empathic towards our team, leading with a heart. One of the things I've always stressed is being vulnerable as a leader. I mean, so often I think, at least as I was growing up, leaders were not looked to be, you were supposed to hold all that stuff back and act like you had all the answers, and we really don't. So I think leading with a heart and showing some vulnerability, especially as we lead through times of crisis, is more important now than ever. It's always been my philosophy, but it sounds like, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons why you've been successful with your growth, leading from the heart.
Well, I'm not sure, but that sounds like a way to do it. I think I love my employees, and maybe they feel it.
Yeah. Now, are you in the warehouse a lot now? So since we've been in this quarantine period, have you all been you mentioned you are an essential business. So have you been then still in the warehouse, or are people more separated?
I do a lot from home just because of what I do.
Right.
So I could. I do go in every once in a while just to make sure people know that I'm still working. And we had 2 employees that self-quarantined for a little bit. Now they're back. We had one guy one employee that lived in St. Pete, and he took the bus, and a lot of my employees take the bus.
Okay.
And the buses stopped running, or were so spaced out he couldn't get to work on time.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
At all. I mean, it took him 4 hours one day. So we tried to Uber him for a little bit, $100 a day to Uber him from St. Pete. So
Wow.
we did not do that very much, but we made other arrangements. There was another employee. We let them borrow the truck so they could drive our truck and be insured and everything. So everybody's getting to work.
Yeah. Now, do you have like an HR department? Do you handle your HR? What has been as you build like processes and systems for the organization? Did you do all that in house, or did you hire outsources? Did you outsource that type of?
I outsource payroll. We always have outsourced payroll. That's just one thing we do not want to mess up is payroll.
Right.
And we just didn't want to take that chance. So we've always done that. And we have a payroll company that takes care of our major HR. We have an office manager that is incredible. I mean, she's really incredible. She's a graphic artist. She's a techie person. And she studies HR. She got certified, and she's our HR now. I used to do it, but it was a lot.
Yeah. Well, and it's great too when you can bring in different skill sets that are versatile in a sense, where they're a master at many things, where they can do the graphic design,
Right.
They can do HR. You know, they'll have what they may really enjoy and where they really flourish at or in, but they're able to do so much more. And that's probably. And as far as the hiring, is that I was going to ask you tips on looking for good people. Maybe that's one of. That's one characteristic to look for, you know, being multi-talented.
Well, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Hiring has always been a challenge because the warehouse people, they don't get paid that much. You know, it's a warehouse labor job, and to find really good workers, it's challenging.
Yeah.
And we've been very, very lucky.
Yeah. I think it's challenging for all businesses. And that's one of the, feedback I hear, concerns, questions that people have all the time is about hiring and where to find good people and just the turnover. And that's why some of the questions I ask, I think so many people have, just because there's always a struggle with employees, no matter what the size, that they're trying to kind of find that, and not everything works for everybody. So you figure if you ask enough people, you come up with different solutions that we can all take a little from.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. If I can learn something every day, that's my goal.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do. I have been such a sponge for years. And I've found that I am so thankful to have the opportunity to sit down with professionals and business owners like yourself. I learned so much from, and that's kind of one of the reasons over the years it became so important for me to share these platforms with others, because it wasn't fair for me to just have this opportunity to talk and learn so much. And I realized I can learn so much from everybody. We all have a story, we all have experiences, and we all have a different take on our journeys and our paths, and there's just so much to learn.
That's true.
And I think it keeps our brains young as the more we learn and grow from each other.
That's true too. I'm so thankful that there is cheap and free lessons and workshops on the internet. I can after my work, I can pull up something and learn something.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and we're looking how we're going to re-strategize and pivot, I guess, as we look as far as our edge products and services. It'll be interesting. I don't really know what to expect yet for the fall. We'd love to bring everybody together personally, but I don't know how realistic that's going to be going forward. So it'll be interesting to see what our future events, and we were so excited about our first annual leadership conference, originally planned for October 21st. So it'll be interesting to see if that's even possible, or if maybe in 2021 that's more realistic. But we do have, I partnered with some of our community partners that are executive leadership coaches and consultants in the community, and we're working on some Zoom workshops. I think the first one will be June 2nd, so we're excited. We'll be having more information on that soon, and I think there'll be about an hour once a week in the evening, and again, just to share tips and strategy, and hopefully some potential solutions as we're all trying to lead through crisis and recovery focus.
oh, I hope we can get together again, because you had some really nice parties. I really enjoyed them.
Oh, thank you. And we enjoyed them also. It's going to be difficult. I'm so personable that I'll have to, we'll have to adjust, but it's definitely hard. I mean, I'd rather have you in studio than zooming in, virtually, but we're all making adjustments where we can. But yeah, we've gotten pretty good at throwing the parties. So I'm really hopeful that at some point in the future we can, get that back going. But Del, thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate you taking the time to come and talk about urban e-recycling. We have all your information on the screen as well, and your website there. So definitely for all of your recycling, I think that's what I said, urban e-recycling, for all of your recycling needs, please reach out to Del, and they'll take care of it. Del, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of Getting the Edge. We look forward to seeing you again soon, each and every week. Until next time, never stop dreaming. Thank you.